Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to my 3 Takeaways episode from the Matt Thomas interview this past Monday. I hope you guys really enjoyed Matt's philosophical perspective on life and the different situations and experiences that he's gone through himself. He talked about it in terms of his journey in creating Brawl for a Cause, the nonprofit organization that he currently is full-time with. And y'all, this organization, what they do is amazing. I mean, all the money that they give to charity and everything is so cool, but he's also empowering all these different brawlers and all the different fighters that are actually going through this journey and this process themselves. So I'd highly recommend you go give that a follow on Instagram at Brawl for a Cause, and Matt himself at Moving with Matt. He also has that philosophical perspective in terms of his journey becoming world champion in chess boxing. I mean, I hope you guys love that story from losing to a bunch of 8-year-olds. I'll save that a little bit later, but I want to get right into it. My 3 takeaways. Number 1, everyone has a hero within them. You know, to me, everyone has a hero, but you have to be mindful of the situations and experiences that you go through in order to pull that hero out. Because I think a lot of people don't really believe that about themselves, don't believe that they have the power to pull out a hero within them. But I think the way that we do that is that we view our roadblocks and our obstacles and our challenges as things to overcome, as things to move past, not as things that convince us to stop. Think about the superheroes that are fantasy that you admire and things like that. Everybody has challenges. So that's what's a superhero. It's not somebody who has all the superpowers. And we even touched on that in the interview, actually. It's like we talked about how Superman has all these powers and there's nothing to overcome. There's no limit that he has. And that's not what makes him relatable. All of us have these challenges that we have to overcome. And it's about being mindful. It's like, okay, this is a challenge. I have to do something about it. I have to grow. I have to move past this. I have to learn. And when I overcome this, I'm my own superhero. And that's what's super important. It's about really just realizing those experiences that you have to overcome. Number 2, practice what you preach. I'm unbelievably passionate about this one. Practice what you preach, because I feel like I try to put out content into the world with my podcast, with these takeaways, with my Talk Tuesdays on Instagram, and those sorts of things, that I need to make sure that I am actually doing the things that I'm saying that other people should do. Because if I'm not, then I won't feel strong enough to actually be able to say those things. And then Matt talked about it in the sense of when he lost to all those 8-year-olds and was crying in his car, he was like, you know what? Every brawler, every fighter that goes through Brawl for a Cause has some sort of challenge like this, has some sort of roadblock that they doubt themselves. They doubt their own ability to move forward. And he's like, if I'm going to try to convince people to put themselves in that kind of harm's way or that kind of a challenging environment, I can't be able to actually convince them to do that if I'm not willing to experience that myself or go through that myself. So he's like, you know what? That's my motivation. I'm going to be the guy who runs this organization. I have to go through this challenging experience myself, because look, we can all tell people cliches or say cliches all day long. We can all say, you know, how you're supposed to behave or what you're supposed to do to be able to help yourself. Think about it this way. Common sense is not common action, right? That's actually a quote from a book called The Happiness Advantage that I'm currently reading. And think about it like this. Think about all the doctors out there that are overweight. Doctors are the people that are supposed to tell us how to live healthily, what we should eat, how we should move, what vitamins we should take, and that sort of thing. But there's so many of them that are overweight that are not actually doing that themselves. And then think about, there are probably a bunch of personal trainers out there who aren't actually fit. So how can they have confidence in telling somebody how they're supposed to move and how they're supposed to train if they're not even fit themselves? So it's all about not just talking the talk, but actually walking the walk as well. Now, number 3 is life happens for you. And I brought up this Ed Mylett quote in the interview with Matt, that life happens for you, not to you. And Matt loved it, but he was like, you know what? I don't know if I believe it in a truth sense that actually someone is like behind the scenes pulling the strings for you. But if you have that perspective on life, it assumes optimism. Because any negative situation or experience that you go through, you're constantly looking for ways to be able to flip that on its head. Because as long as we don't embrace a victim mentality and ask why us, why now, why me sort of thing when a negative situation occurs, and you're constantly, your alerts are on searching for things to way to flip it on its head, then there's going to be some way that you can make a positive out of it. It might not be as apparent right off the bat, but if you look hard enough and long enough, something will reveal itself. Again, my 3 takeaways. Number 1, everyone has a hero within them, but we've got to be mindful of those challenges and those roadblocks that we go through and find ways to overcome those to bring out our inner hero. Number 2, practice what you preach. It's not about just saying cliches. It's not about just talking the talk. You actually have to practice the things that you tell other people to do. Number 3, life happens for you, not to you. Reverse those negative situations. 3, 2, 1. Have a good day, y'all.